Dinosaur Adventure Land in Lenox, Alabama. Come on down. It's beautiful down here. It is February the 7th, 2024, 2 days before my spiritual birthday. Give my heart to the Lord, February 29th. Tonight we'll be whacking three atheists, Jerry Coyne, Annie Gaylor, and Dan Barker. Freedom from thought. They call it freedom from religion. No, guys, you got the wrong name. It's freedom from thought, okay? You're not thinking. And we'll talk about that in a minute tonight. Okay, we're on a bunch of channels now. TikTok, Rumble, Brighton, Hovind Official on Odyssey. Let's see, 4 channels on YouTube. So please, pick one, and if it goes down, come back to the website, drdino.com, pick another channel. They can't handle the truth, so they try to silence the messenger. This has been standard for all of history, okay? We're old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church. We believe the Bible is true, and evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the world. And it's nothing but a religion. Straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, where God ought to get the glory instead of the stupid evolution religion. By the way, we're still needing hay. Anybody coming from anywhere in the U.S. where you have some hay, bring it. We've been getting the big round bales. Well, we can't get those anymore. There's a drought down here, but our cows can't get a square meal off of those. So any kind of hay you can bring down, please. We'll buy a truckload off of you. Okay, February, let's see. 3 atheists who choose freedom from thought. Okay, we're going to try to straighten them out tonight. We believe the Bible is true. If you want to help us to open for free, join our 777 Club. Go to drdino.com. We've been open for, let's see, 7.8 years. I got it updated, yep. drdino.com. Donations right there. Whack an Atheist Wednesday. We do every Wednesday. I wear red, like the bull to, antagonize them. I know bulls are colorblind. It's still fun to think, hey, I'm antagonizing them sweetly in Christian love. Whack-a-mole game. The mole sticks his head up and you bang it back down with a hammer. Oh, that was Heather last week. I should have changed it. They stick their head up and you got to whack it back down. It's a fun game. A lot of arcades. I've only played it once. Well, have you played it? Yeah. Whack-a-mole? Okay. Whack-a-mole. Kids love to play it. Adults love to play it. Whack-a-mole. So when the atheist sticks his head up and says something dumb, like you'll see tonight in the video we'll play, time to whack them back down. Some have learned to keep their head down and move on to other softer targets, like flat earth or something. That's great. But some you got to keep whacking them over and over and over. Oh, well, I taught high school 15 years. I'm used to teaching the same thing over and over and over until they finally get it or give up trying. I kind of enjoy it, actually. So the winner tonight, free thought matters. Actually, you guys should be freedom from thought. You guys are not thinking. We got Ann Gaylor, Dan Barker, and Jerry Coyne. Jerry Coyne has written several books on evolution, taught at the University of Chicago, Department of Ecology and Evolution. Let's see, he published, there's the Atheist Convention. Have you seen that? The Atheist Convention. What proof do we have there is a dog? You're standing on it, guys. Okay. Atheist logic. This building is a marvel of modern architectural design. This painting shows a masterpiece of technique. This engine is a piece of sophisticated engineering. Clearly, nobody made this. That's the rest of the world. Okay. Well, no matter how big a hammer you use, you can't pound common sense into stupid people. We're going to try. You're going to hear you're going to hear Jerry quite a few times tonight. All three of them are going to say, do you accept evolution? And they'll say, a certain number of people accept evolution. Wait. How can you accept evolution? I want to try to keep track of how many times they say it. Accept. What does that accept mean? To receive something offered willingly, accept a gift. That's one definition. The surface will not accept ink. Okay. To give admittance or approval to accept someone into your group. To endure without protest or reaction, to accept poor living conditions. To regard as proper, normal, or inevitable the idea that is widely accepted. To recognize as true, to believe. They refuse to accept the evolution. To make a favorable response to. To agree to undertake a responsibility, to accept a job. Okay. To assume an obligation to pay, like we don't accept personal checks. Well, Jerry has written several books, Why Evolution is True, Evolution, of Faith versus Fact, Jerry Coyne. So Jerry is wanting us to accept evolution. Well, let's just look at it here and see. There we go. What happened to it? Right here. Too many buttons to push, brother. Here we go. Take it away, Jerry. You see that? The establishment of a religion? That's what evolution is. They've established a religion using tax funding to do it.
Welcome to Free Thought Matters. I'm Dan Barker. I'm co-president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, which produces this show.
And I'm Gaylor. And today we have a very special guest with us here in the Friendly Atheist Studio at Free Thought Hall in Madison, Wisconsin, Professor Jerry Coyne. Jerry, welcome to Free Thought Matters.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, your first book is called Why Evolution is True, which is a very plain-spoken title. Why?
Well, it expresses most succinctly the thesis of the book, which is the evidence for evolution, which I've been teaching for 30 years. And I couldn't think of a title. I mean, it's only 4 words. I couldn't think of a title that would convey the book in a more direct and way. I have to say I got some pushback from people. I think my publishers were a little bit worried about that because, you know, America is an evolution-resistant country, and that's an in-your-face title. So, but I fought for it.
Wait. America is an evolution-resistant country. It means not everybody accepts your religion? Okay, let's keep going.
And I think it's a good title, and ultimately they used it. So.
What do you think they wanted the title to be?
I have no idea. I don't know if we actually discussed alternative titles. I can't really think of one. Richard's is called, his book on the evidence, Richard Dawkins' The Evidence Revolution is called The Greatest Show on Earth. But then he has a subtitle, and my editor, Wendy Wolf, who's a great editor at Viking Penguin, she's resistant to subtitles, so I didn't want to have one for this book. So that
Well, I think it's a great title.
Yeah.
And is it the kind of title where you're just making the case to the American public? Anybody can pick this book up and understand why evolution is true?
Yeah, you don't really need a biology background. All you need is intellectual curiosity. The audience were people who already accepted evolution but didn't know the evidence for it. And,
Come on, there we go. People who already accepted evolution. Okay, there's one. Keep going.
For experts, but it's nice, especially given the fact that only 1 in 5 Americans accepts naturalistic evolution, that everybody who accepts it knows why it is true. And
Sorry, but 1 in 5? I thought about 50% of Americans accept.
well, it depends on how you define accepting evolution. The latest Gallup poll shows that 40% of Americans are young Earth creationists, so they just accept the biblical story in Genesis. Another 30-odd% are theistic evolutionists. So let's say that evolution happened, but God had a hand in it. I don't consider them real evolutionists. They span the whole gamut from people who believe in sporadic divine intervention in evolution to people who just say, well, God created the universe and evolution was a byproduct of that. You know, but if you put God in it, then it's not natural.
Is there another option at all, Jerry, that evolution didn't happen at all and you're on the wrong side? Have you ever, I mean, it's freedom from thought, I know, but I'm going to try to get you to think for a minute. Maybe they're right, and maybe you're wrong. Maybe there is no evidence for this evolution you keep wanting us to accept. Just maybe, think about it.
Realistic. And then the people who accept evolution, who answer the question that humans evolved from other creatures and God had no hand in the process, is 19%, 1 in 5. And that's the way we teach it in the classroom.
But,
So
that's almost like as many freaking% around the country. Well, we're almost 1 in 4.
yeah,
So that's kind of dismaying.
yeah, it's distressing.
It bothers you, Annie, that only 20% of the population believe they're related to a potato? That bothers you? That encourages me. 80% of the people don't accept that idea that they're related to a mosquito and a potato. I like that idea.
And then it explains, you know, the explanation for that, our resistance is this. I talked to you earlier, the fact that we're one of the most religious, in fact, the most religious first world country. And there's a definite negative correlation between how religious you are in a country and how much evolution you accept. So.
There you go again with accept. But, Jerry, evolution is a religion. There's no evidence of any animal ever producing something other than their same kind. Ever. No farmer on the planet, in the history of the planet, has seen a cow produce a non-cow or a frog produce a non-frog, or a dog produce a non-dog. You guys believe in evolution. It's a religious belief. It is not science. I'll debate you and Annie and Dan and all the University of Chicago professors together. I'll come up to Chicago. I'll pay my way. University of Chicago, tell them all, guys. I'll pay my way there, get my own hotel room. I'll debate the whole science faculty on a couple simple conditions. They go first, present one evidence for evolution. I go next. I get equal time. No interrupting, no cursing and swearing. One topic at a time. Then they go on to their next one. I'll debate them 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row if it needs to be, till we exhaust every one of their so-called evidences for evolution that they want their students to accept. All you students up there, any university do this, okay? Say, teacher, would you please debate Kent Hovind? Can we bring Kent Hovind in and debate? It won't cost a dime. When they refuse, contact Joseph. We're going to keep a list on our website. The following professors refuse to debate him. Okay.
So aren't we tied something with a country like Turkey for acceptance of evolution?
Yeah, Turkey is the only so-called first world country that's lower. I don't know who determines whether the country's first world or not, but Turkey's in that class, and that's the only one that's lower than we are. But they're also very religious because they're a Muslim country. That also holds, by the way, for U.S. states. So if you look at the religiosity of all 50 states and plot acceptance of evolution, the more religious states, which of course are in the South, are the ones that are most resistant to evolution. So this negative correlation holds for countries as well as states.
So why is evolution true?
Because of the evidence. That's why any scientific theory, we can discuss what a theory means if you want, but there's so much evidence in favor of evolution. The fossil record, biogeography, embryology, each one of these.
Wait. The fossil record? There is no fossil record, Jerry. There are fossils, no question. It's not a record. There is no biogeography, okay? There's all kinds of animals are found in all kinds of layers, and you guys date the layers by the fossils and the fossils by the layers. The fact that we have fossils at all is proof of a flood. Fossils aren't forming today. Show me some place where animals, how many buffalo fossilized? How many were killed out there? Millions in the West to subdue the Indians? How many buffalo fossilized? None. Fossilization is a rare event. Well, but it doesn't seem to be. There's a whole lot in the ground. Yeah, it's because of the flood of Noah. So then I can't believe, Jerry, you are teaching at a major university and you're still teaching embryology. You listed that as one of your evidences. Jerry, you ought to be ashamed of yourself or embarrassed that you're that dumb to not know that was proven wrong in 1874. There's no evidence for evolution from embryology. Stop teaching that. That's propaganda. It's evil to teach that because that's what justifies abortion, isn't it?
This is a chapter in the book supporting it, vestigial organs, etc. There's so much evidence. And it's not just evidence, it's confluent evidence. It also is the same thing. Evidence is well for natural selection. And
Make that your first topic in our debate, Jerry. Call me. We can do the debate online. You stay where you are. I'll stay where I am. Joseph will set it up. He'll send you a link. Come in. I'll debate you. And you can have 20 helpers. One at a time, one topic at a time, equal time for each side, not each person. Simple enough? Call. Come on, Jerry.
There's no evidence against evolution, which is...
No evidence against evolution. No, but there's no evidence for it. Can I say there's no evidence against SpongeBob? Well, how do you disprove something like that? There's no evidence that you drill down 50 feet in the moon and you're going to hit green cheese. There's no evidence that that's not true. Come on, that's not how science works. Where's the evidence for evolution? There isn't. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow, ever. But you guys make these family trees up with everything going back to a common ancestor. Let me show you one. Just to get it straight here. Let's see, right here. Debates. Okay, come over to this one. There. Okay. You guys make up these family trees as if this is supposed to be some kind of evidence. You have the human and the bird and the ladybug going back to a common ancestor. That's not science. That's lines on paper. Here they have the humans and going back to a protista. There we go. Where we got the fish and the humans and the monkeys are related to a protista. This textbook says all the forms of life on Earth today are related. This is propaganda. This isn't science. All the forms of life are related to a common ancestor found in a population of primitive unicellular organisms. Oh, really? But there's no such thing as a primitive unicellular organism. I'll debate you on that too, okay? No traces of these events remain. Well, kids, now look, we know what happened, but there's no evidence. There's no evidence for evolution. They knew that back in '94 in this textbook. They still, if you think there is some, call to schedule a debate. And if I got a non-accredited degree, I should be easy picking, shouldn't I? Okay? And so this one has the humans going back to, oh, and rated to a butterfly. Whoa. I would agree that possibly all the hundreds of varieties of butterflies, common ancestor called a butterfly. That's not proof that the butterfly and the, let's see, what do we got here? Oh, the frog. Butterfly and frog and sour and shark all have common ancestor. This is not science. This is propaganda. The protista, single-cell creature turned into a biology teacher. I see. Okay. If it happens slowly, they call it modern science. If it happens quickly, they call it a fairy tale. It is a fairy tale. There's no science behind any of that. I'm on the wrong slide here. No, here we go. Anyway, I've got my PowerPoint messed up a little bit here. Let me go back to, oh, there we go. There's 366 varieties of hummingbirds. How many knew that? Talk about useless knowledge. They might have had a common ancestor called a hummingbird. That does not prove hummingbirds are related to dinosaurs and pine trees and ladybugs and worms. I don't know how you guys can't get this. I need a bigger hammer, Joseph. They're not getting it. I try to knock some sense into them. Common sense, science. So somebody sent me a bigger hammer. Here we go. That will knock some sense into a couple of them. But in case that doesn't work, we will bring out the big one. Jerry, this is for you. You're going to need it. You've been teaching this dumb religion so long, you've believed it yourself, and you've destroyed the faith of who knows how many students, and it's time somebody calls your bluff on it. I'll come to your university and debate you and all the teachers at the same time. There is no evidence for evolution. And when you bring up embryology, I'm going to call you on it and show the evidence and ask you to say, now, would you apologize to your students for claiming that's evidence? Would you? If I can prove that you're wrong? Well, anyway, let's go back to the, right. How do I get back where I was? Right here. There, okay. It's complicated, brother.
It's important because there could be evidence against evolution.
But you just used the word theory.
Yes.
Some of you.
Wait, there could be evidence against it. There could be evidence against the moon having green cheese 50 feet down, too. What's the evidence? I got to spend $200 trillion to go up there and prove it to you? Where's the evidence for it? You've got this all backwards. You want to make these family trees like we're related to a hummingbird and a frog, and you want to call that science, and I got to prove that wrong? Suppose I said coffee cups used to be made out of bananas. Prove I'm wrong. That's science work. Come on, you're a scientist. You should know that. Okay, let's let these guys talk here.
Viewers might, aha, you don't think it's actually true. You're saying it's a theory.
Yeah, that's an old canard, a really old canard, an inedible canard that was promulgated by Ronald Reagan in 1980 when he denied evolution by saying, well, it's only a theory.
He denied evolution? He did not accept it? Oh, Ronald Reagan. Whoa. Bad guy.
And some scientists doubt it. And only a theory means to the average person it's just a speculation or a wild guess. But in science, a theory is an explanatory scheme that accounts for a lot of data.
I would agree. First, it's a hypothesis. You could have just a hypothesis, just a guess. I guess that the birds all fly south because whatever. A theory, then, you test that hypothesis and get some evidence to support it. And then if there's never found any evidence to contradict it, they might consider it a scientific fact. It's an overgeneralization, but you got hypothesis, theory, fact. Evolution is not even a theory. It's a hypothesis. It's a wild guess. There is no evidence to say any hummingbird ever produced anything but a hummingbird baby or ever came from a non-hummingbird mom and dad. You want to have the hummingbird coming from an amoeba and along with the humans. I don't understand how you guys cannot see it. Blind as a bat. Okay, so no, evolution is not even a good theory. It's a hypothesis. It's a religion. It's something you have chosen to believe in.
And other theories are the germ theory of disease, of things like smallpox and pneumonia and AIDS are caused.
I think there's a lot of scientific evidence to back up the idea that bacteria and germs can cause disease. Don't put evolution in that category. They at least have some evidence for the germ theory. I believe that's a legitimate term, germ theory. Evolution theory is not a legitimate term. Don't classify them together. There's no connection.
So microorganisms, infectious microorganisms, that's the theory. It's called the germ theory. It still is.
So you wouldn't say the germ theory of disease means there's no such thing as germs, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
You could use the word theory.
Yeah, if you try to impugn evolution with.
See, they're trying to ride on the coattails of a totally different theory. They try to sneak evolution in like it's the same thing. It's not the same thing, Jerry. Call me for a debate. I won't let you get by with that with me.
It's only a theory. And at the same time, they're impugning the germ theory of disease and the atomic theory.
No, you're not impugning the germ theory of disease by calling evolution a theory. You want to classify them all together. That's your problem. Let's keep them all separate. I think the germ theory has a lot of evidence to back it up. I think atomic theory has a lot of evidence to back it up, that the world's made of atoms that we can't see. I think there's evidence to back that up. Now, where's the evidence to back up your theory that everything belongs on a family tree and we all came from an amoeba or protozoa? Where's the evidence for that? Embryology? Right.
Theory, which claims that elements are made up of chemically indivisible bits of matter called atoms that retain those chemical properties.
Or music theory. There's no such thing as music.
Yeah.
You guys are desperate. You want so badly to make evolution go from a religion up to a theory. It's not a theory. It's nothing but a religious belief. And you're welcome to it. I don't mind. Believe whatever you want. But quit calling it science and quit making all of us pay to put that in the public schools like it is part of science.
So, there's this misunderstanding in the public of what a theory is. And to say the theory of evolution means it's a guess or a speculation is just wrong. And the data in this.
If it had advanced up to a theory, you might be right, Jerry. But it's not even a theory. It's a religious belief. You believe you're related to a mosquito, don't you?
Book is the evidence that supports the theory. So a theory can be a theory and it can be a true theory, and evolution happens to be one of those.
And Jerry, what do you see as the harm of all of this ignorance in the United States, or this resistance to acceptance of evolution?
There you go again, acceptance of evolution. I'm keeping track. That's 9 so far. What's the harm of people not accepting your religion? I bet in Muslim countries they're saying that. What's the harm of people not? Why not let people have freedom of religion? Why do they have to accept Islam? Aren't they pretty intolerant of anybody that won't accept it? Aren't they? Yeah. You guys are pretty intolerant of anybody who won't accept your theory too, aren't you? Your religion.
Well, it's not as dire as not accepting climate change.
Oh, brother, you're going to include it with climate change? You drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you, Jerry? Yeah, you swallowed. Man, never mind. Okay.
Because if you don't accept evolution, it's not going to bring on the end of the world.
Accept.
But it denies people the wonder of biology. In a way, studying it.
How many of you are marveled at creation and the things God has made because you believe in creation? And when you see the amazing design of a feather or an atom or a molecule or anything, it doesn't deny you. Not accepting evolution does not deny you of the wonder of looking at the world. I taught biology 15 years. I love studying things about the human body, anatomy, physiology, all the different muscles and tendons. And we're amazingly designed. It doesn't stop people from wondering. I go out in the sand dune and say, God, you're amazing. I can look at the stars and say, wow, what a mighty God we serve. You look at the stars and say, wow, it all fit in a dot smaller than an atom. That's insane to believe that. Absolutely insane.
Evolution is like studying fine arts in that it allows us a greater appreciation and awe and understanding of our universe. But
Wait. Believing we all came from a dot of nothing for no reason with no designer makes us have a sense of awe at our universe? What are you smoking when we're not on camera?
That's to be true. You can't say a painting is true or not true. It either moves or it doesn't, but evolution, you can say it's true. And by understanding evolution, we understand a lot about where we came from. To science, evolution.
No, you don't have any idea where you came from. You believe you came from a rock. Aaron Ross says nobody believes that. All of you believe that. I show it over and over and over. The Earth was a hot ball of molten rock 4.6 billion years ago, wasn't it, Jerry? Then it cooled off for millions and millions of years, and then it began to rain on the rocks for millions of years, and the puddles gathered that had organic molecules floating around, or had molecules floating around that became organic. And so you came from a rock. You really do believe that? I wish you guys would just be honest with your students. Students, look, we came from a rock, and that rock came from a dot of nothing exploding. Why don't you just be honest with you? I'll be honest with your students. Bring me up, University of Chicago. Book them, Dano.
Is important because accepting that it opens up whole new areas of research that could not be answered before. For example, if you see a cardinal and the male is very bright red and the female is drab brown, if you're an evolutionary biologist, you can ask, well, why is that? Why?
I think a creationist can ask that too, Jerry. Maybe God made it so that the male would attract the attention of the predator away from the nest. Maybe it's to protect his wife and kids. Is that his cool design feature? Maybe God made men bigger and stronger than women generally because the daddy can protect the family from the bad guys. You can only see evolution as an answer to that dumb question, why cardinals are red?
Is always the male, the brighter bird, and then Darwin had an answer to that, sexual selection based on evolution. If you have a religious...
That's not an answer to it. He claimed sexual selection caused that to happen. The girl cardinals selected the brighter color ones. He doesn't know that. And that wouldn't cause them to get redder, wouldn't cause them to change their color. That's in the gene code. How can you guys not get it? And never mind.
This theory, then the only answer you can have is, well, that's the way God wanted it to be.
That's the way things are.
Yeah, and God wanted it.
Well, it's more than that. There's a reason for it. Like I said, the the predator comes, he sees the male fly off and he chases him. What's that bird that pretend like holds its wing down like it's hurt? It flies a certain distance to draw the predators away. One of those on the beach. Bird comes to the nest and the daddy bird flies off with the wing hanging down. And they say, oh, I'm going to go get him. And they chase him and he flies a little further like he's hurt. When he gets him far enough away from the nest, he takes off. By then, they don't know where the nest was. Almost designed, don't you think?
The male birds could be brighter than the female birds. And then you have to ask, well, why did God want it that way? And theologians would just say, we don't understand.
Don't say that, Jerry. I think I understand. I think it's a good design. Why don't you ask me why the red cardinal male is brighter than the female? Why don't you ask me?
So it opens up whole new areas of research and understanding. I can't say that the study of evolution has considerably benefited humanity materially, but it certainly benefited us mentally and scholarly.
I think it's been detrimental in every area. It's stunted people's brain, their thinking, and it's certainly been detrimental in the moral area. Ask Adolf Hitler why he did what he did. Hitler, why did you hate the Jews? And then next you were going to kill all the blacks, weren't you, Adolf? I've got Hitler's hit list and my seminar part 5, the dangers of evolution. Get my whole seminar, $50, 18 hours. When you're done watching it, you can return it, get your money back, minus the shipping cost. Video number 5, Hitler said, I'm going to kill the Jews because they have not evolved as far as the rest. They're an inferior species. Yeah, read the title of Hitler's book. Read the title of Darwin's book. The origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. That's the book that influenced Hitler to do what he did with World War II. Come on now, Jerry, study your history and be honest. Evolution has been detrimental morally. Let me ask you, Jerry, if evolution is true, how do you tell right from wrong? Would it be wrong to go next door and kill your neighbor's baby and eat it? Just yes or no. I'll assume you'll say, yeah, that'd be wrong. Okay. How do you measure that? How do you know it's wrong? The lion does it to the zebra all the time. Go next door, kill the zebra baby and eat it. Is it wrong for the lion to do that? Would it be okay for the zebra daddy to try to defend his baby and kick the teeth out of the lion? Would that be okay? If he had a gun, would it be okay for daddy zebra to shoot the lion, come and eat his baby? Would that be okay if he had a gun? Huh. You guys just don't get it.
Way, and if I can use that word spiritually.
And also, what about things like stem cell research and all of the scientific progress that we need to make? Aren't we hamstrung if our country is sort of in the dark ages when it comes to...
Annie, we're not in the dark ages at all, okay? Our country's led the world in many, many inventions and all sorts of things. But the stem cell research, you could ever make one, they're still studying how it's made. Because it was made. It was created. One cell in your body is more complicated than the space shuttle. And you think nobody made it. You guys need to go back to kindergarten, start over, okay?
Well, some of it, in some ways, are not necessarily from stem cell theory, but for other areas. For example, people will now use evolutionary algorithms when they develop new microorganisms or try to figure out ways to build computers that will use natural selection algorithms, which they would be doing. And when they predict...
Wait. You're claiming that evolution theory has something to do with building computers. Call for that debate. 855 BIG-DINO, extension 4. Joseph, book him anytime, okay?
Sure.
Okay, got it? If you don't do it on my channel, we'll do it on Standing for Truth channel. Or on your channel if you got Annie, we'll do it on your channel. As long as you promise to be a good host, I get half the time, no interrupting, no cursing and swearing. We'll do it on the Freedom from Thought channel you guys run, okay?
The flu vaccine for next year, they will use considerations of evolution. The reason why microbes become resistant to antivirals and antibiotics is natural selection, of course.
That's true. See, if you got a bunch of bacteria and you spray something on them or shoot them with an antibacterial formula, and 99% of them die, the 1% that didn't die already had the resistance to that, didn't they? And they get to be a whole new population. And pretty soon, the whole population become resistant to that particular antibiotic. That's evolution's got nothing to do with that. It didn't create anything. Giving the antibiotic selected a slice of the code that already existed to now thrive and take over the population. They say roaches, become resistant to pesticides. Okay. They'll never become resistant to a sledgehammer. You guys, that is not evidence for evolution. How can you teach your student, and you students that are dumb enough to believe that, wake up. Don't follow idiots like this who believe they came from a rock.
Those bugs that are resistant are the ones that survive, and so doctors have to be aware of that. That's one reason why you have to take all your antibiotics.
You could believe in creation or evolution and understand that. It's got nothing to do with evolution.
Even though you feel better. So
there are medical implications of evolution.
well, and then in agriculture, pesticides and resistant and having to be changed all the time.
Yeah, let's see that people have been doing selective breeding long before we learned about evolution. So one thing you could realize is that
Before we learned about evolution,
something's going to become resistant to whatever you try to kill it with. Now we can understand why.
no, it doesn't become resistant. The population. People don't ever become resistant to a 50 caliber machine gun bullet, okay? You don't become resistant to that. Now, the population of roaches might become resistant to a pesticide because one of them already had something in the gene code. I mean, if you're going around handcuffing people, taking them off and shooting them, and somebody doesn't have any hands, you can't handcuff them. Whoa, is that a beneficial mutation? You can't handcuff them now. So pretty soon, they're going to be the ones taking over the population, and pretty soon everybody's born with no hands if every generation gets handcuffed and executed. That's a rough analogy, but that's what you're claiming that's going to create something. It's a loss of information. All these roaches resistant to pesticides, bacteria resistant to antibiotics, that's a loss of information. I think in every case it's been demonstrated. There's nothing gained. You're still a bacteria. Let's see. There.
Until Darwin came along, but that particular phenomenon is not something that depends on natural selection, but the way to combat it, the particular machinations used to fight herbicide resistance or things like that depend on evolutionary considerations. But I don't want...
Oh, it does not. You're making a bold statement there that nobody's going to challenge. I'll challenge it. Doesn't it depend on evolution? Common sense would tell you if a certain percentage of the population is resistant to this bug killer, then next year we use a different bug killer. We could eventually, by just simply Russian roulette, wipe out the whole population. It didn't change anything. It didn't evolve into something new. That's not evolution, Jerry. Come on.
I want to leave readers with the idea that evolution is something that we really is so important in human material welfare and health that,
It's important. We're all going to die if we don't believe in it, aren't we? Yep.
it's vital to understand for that reason. The best reason is to want to study evolution because it tells us the true story of our origins.
You're just making a bold claim again, and I'll tell you this: you are lying. Okay, it doesn't tell us the true story of our origins. Debate me on it. You believe it does. You teach it does. That's your religious belief, but that does not mean it's true. You make these statements, and all of a sudden it's true because Jerry Coyne said it. We're going to go just another minute or two, brother. These guys fire me up.
Yes, sir.
I could do a whacking atheist every day.
Related to everything else, and it just adds I hate to use the word spiritual, but in terms of awe before nature, it adds a certain amount of awe. When you see a woodpecker and realize that every feature on that woodpecker, the fact that it has eyelashes to keep the wood chips from flying into its eyes, or it has a highly padded skull with things that each one of those is a product of a blind, materialistic, naturalistic process. That adds a lot of.
You're claiming the woodpecker, all these features of the woodpecker, are a result of evolution. You're giving evolution credit for something that you can't prove it did that. The woodpecker is amazingly designed. The tongue of the woodpecker goes all the way around the back of his skull and anchors in his left nostril. When he pecks, every time he pecks forward, his eyes are open to focus on where to peck at. And then as soon as he hits, his eyes close so the chips don't go in his eyes. Then he backs up, opens his eyes, refocuses, and goes again. I forget how many times. Google, how many times do woodpeckers peck in a second? It's a whole bunch. I did a series on that one time, okay? They have to close their eyes, open them when they're back, and focus and hit it again. And the beak has special cartilage pads, and inside the head, they got a special fluid around their brain that's even thicker than most, because the brain is going back and forth in there. But it would be banging against the skull. He'd knock himself out. And they have toes on their feet where one points backwards, or 2 point back, 2 point down, 2 point up, so he can hold on the tree. And his tail has special muscles to be able to brace himself, to tripod himself, to be able to hit the tree over and over. And then when he's done pecking the hole, and the bug is, of course, I'm trying to avoid this, he pecks into the tunnel where the bug is, and then his tongue is so long he can go down and chase around and find the bug, and the tongue has little barbs on it that stab the bug and drag him out resistantly to join him for supper. And all that happened by chance, didn't it, Jerry? You believe evolution gets the credit for that? Call for that debate, please. I can't wait to take all of you on. How many did you find out? How many times do woodpeckers peck in a second? I'm guessing, I think the number 20 a second. It's whatever it is a lot, okay? Yeah, and it all happened by chance. You want to steal the glory from God and give it to your stupid religion, don't you?
I wonder, yeah. So your appreciation of nature.
So you, of course, are an ardent atheist.
Yes.
And don't you think most scientists are non-religious?
They peck 20 times a second and have to focus their eye each time. And nobody designed that focus system. Nobody designed that special beak. You're an ardent atheist, okay?
For the most part?
Yeah, I think most scientists are non-believers above a certain level. I think for the average scientist in America, it's about 40 to 60% are atheists. Of course, that's a lot higher than the populace as a whole. If you look at scientists at elite universities, which are defined by the sociologists who did this study, University of Chicago is one, places like Harvard and Princeton, where you have to do research. About 65% of them are atheists. And then,
does that prove it's true? This is the argument for majority opinion, which means nothing. 55 million Germans followed Hitler. What, 70 or 80 million Russians followed Stalin. Yeah, you better, or you get executed if you don't. And you can't get a job teaching at your university in a science class unless you believe in evolution. Could a young earth creationist come in there and get a job teaching there? Could they publish in a peer-reviewed journal? Huh? I'll cover all this before. Could somebody in Iraq or Iran today Could somebody go to Iran and publish in their newspapers how you don't think Islam's right? Could you do that? No. We covered that before. Okay, questions and comments here real quick. Then these guys get me fired up. We can go. That's only 10 minutes of his 28-minute thing. We'll do the rest another time. But Jerry, anytime, all of Annie, Dan, all three of you together. Take you all on. Come to Lenox, Alabama. We'll put you up, feed you for free, and house you for free, give you the tour, teach you some real science, and I'll debate all three at the same time, right here on our stage. Come on. Okay, go ahead. What do you got there, brother? Oh, by the way, I only got 11 times for acceptance. I should have been paying better attention, but still, you don't accept evolution, Jerry. You believe in evolution. It's a religion. Oh, take my slides down there. Oh, questions right there. How can we know we're in hell when Scripture says the dead know nothing? Well, I think if you read the dead know nothing quote, I think that was in Ecclesiastes. That is Solomon giving the whole history of his view of the world as if disregarding eternity. As far as a man dies and a dog dies, there's no difference to people on earth. They both died. Their carcass quit moving. Ecclesiastes is a lousy place to get doctrine from. Be cautious. Solomon said, this is his view of the world under the sun. Under the sun, it looks like, wow, a dog dies, a man dies, same thing. It looks like, wow, the dead knows nothing. It doesn't mean that's true in from the bigger picture. Read it carefully. Under the sun is mentioned a whole bunch of times in just the book of Ecclesiastes. I'll look it up real quick while I get to the next one here. Let's see. I love that Bible search program that has all that in there. Okay, Bible search. Now, here we go. I go to eSword. I recommend you get that. eSword. Oh, open another one? No. Okay. So Ecclesiastes is where you get that from, and that's not a place to get Bible doctrine, okay? It's true that that's what it looks like to people under the sun, but that doesn't mean it's true, if you can understand that, okay? Under the sun. Under the sun, I've got 30 verses that have that. Let's see. Ecclesiastes 1:3, Ecclesiastes 1:9, 1:14, 2:11, Ecclesiastes 2:17, 2:18, 2:19, 2:20, 2:22, Ecclesiastes 3:16, 4:1. I mean, 4:3. You can do it yourself. So I don't know if you're serious about your question, but it's true. The dead know nothing under the sun, as far as man's concerned. That's ignoring the bigger picture. Okay, go ahead. Brian, how do we know the Earth ain't billions and billions and billions of years old? If there was, there'd be 6 billion, more than 6 billion people on the Earth. I will cover that on a Friday night when I get to that. The population of the Earth is clear indication. It doesn't indicate the age of the Earth necessarily, but man has only been here populating this planet for 4,400 years since Noah got off the ark. Not if man had been here for millions of years, somebody would have figured out how to make babies a long time before. And the population is a good indication, at least that the population of the Earth could have easily been formed in 4,400 years since Noah's flood. Okay? Derek, my man Kent, we're looking for a really good Bible study and wondering if you had any certain Bible recommendations. I insist on the King James. If you're going to, I won't use anything. I've got them all right here. I'm not afraid of them. But the King James is, I think, where God preserved his word. Henry Morris did the Defender's Study Bible. It's the King James Version with his footnotes at the bottom. I like it. I use it. I've worn out 4 or 5 of them. I love them. We sell it in our bookstore, okay? Henry Morris Defender's Study Bible, hardback or leatherback. Okay, there you go. But do you still have free will in heaven? How could, I think and I hope what's going to happen, I don't think I can prove this. We have right now, there's 2 Kent Hovinds living in this body. There's the old one that wants to do everything wrong, and there's the new one that was born again February 9th. The original Kent Hovind was born January 15th, 53. The new one was born February 9th. There's 2 Kent, I was born again. There's 2 of them. They're in there fighting all the time. And when we go to heaven, God only takes the one that was born of him. So the old Kent, I won't even want to sin when I get to heaven. Boy, am I raised my mind. Wow. And it's not because we're slaves. We just don't have that old nature anymore. Google the old nature in the Bible and the new nature. Okay? Any more?
You guys, a couple on TikTok.
Okay.
Guys saying if he watches adult films every single day, can he still be saved?
Well, you can be saved, but you're going to incur God's wrath. He said very clearly, put no wicked thing before mine eyes. And if you look at a woman in lust after you committed adultery already in your heart, Matthew 5:28. So you're certainly violating God's word. Read Matthew 5:28. That's a violation of God's clear word. If you're one of God's children, then he's going to spank you. If he doesn't spank you, then you're probably not one of his kids. If a person has sin in their life and God says, hey, stop doing that. It's like when a kid is, 1 year old, they wet their diaper, no big deal, put a new diaper on. When they're 3 years old, it's, hey kid, look, the potty's over here, come on, let me show you how to use it, all right? And when they're 10 years old, still wetting their pants, look kid, knock it off, you're 10 years old, okay? So if you've been a Christian for a while, God might start saying, look, knock it off, you've been a Christian long enough, don't do that, or I'm gonna have to step in. Now when he steps in, read 1 Corinthians 5. There was a man in that church in 1 Corinthians 5 living in adultery with his mother. Paul said the heathen don't even do that. He said to the Corinthian church, I want you to turn him over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that the spirit may be saved. He's still going to heaven, going early. So if you're a Christian and you sin and you won't quit, you can lose your rewards, you can lose your joy, you can lose your power with God, and you can eventually lose your life if you're not careful. But you cannot lose your salvation. So if you're truly saved and you're doing that, expect the hammer to come down, okay? Maybe God made you ask me that question so I can speak and say, that's your warning. You're going to get it. Knock it off. Okay.
What would you say would be the best evidence for evolution?
I don't know of any evidence for evolution, depending what you mean by the word. That's why I define the word. There's lots of evidence that animals can produce a variation within the same kind. There are 4,000 species of potatoes now that they've developed. They probably had a common ancestor called a potato. That's a variation within. It's still a potato. 24 times in the first 7 chapters, God said they will bring forth after their kind. That's all anybody's ever seen. So there's no evidence against that. Nobody's ever been able to change an animal to a new kind of animal. Dogs, wolves, coyotes probably had a common ancestor. That doesn't prove dogs and bananas had a common ancestor. But that's what they do on the chart. They put them all linked together. That's propaganda. Stupid, real stupid, okay?
How can I get some of your material to share with my church?
Our material's all on our website, drdino.com, D-R-D-I-N-O. You can come down here to Lenox, Alabama, take the tour, stay in one of our cabins for a day or two, and go into our bookstore. You can buy it all right there. You can call the office, 855 BIG-DINO, extension 1, talk to my wife, or extension 0, talk to Bobby. Say, I want to order the video series. Get this, put it in your church library, $50 for 18 hours with millions of hours of research in here, and then spread it around. Tell it, copy it. Don't sell it, but copy it and give it to all your friends. Make 100 copies if you want, as long as you're giving them away.
Okay, last one. How did Noah have all the species on the ark?
How did Noah have all the species on the ark? Okay, that's a fair question. The atheist will ask that kind of thing, and I'll say, well, first of all, let's explain to the audience here. You guys believe all the species in the world came from a rock. Okay, let's make sure we understand. We're level ground here. And you believe all the animals in the world and the world fit in a dot smaller than an atom, don't you? Come on, that's really what you believe. They don't want, let's expose. So generally, I think it's accepted now that there are about 8,000 kinds of animals that had to be on the ark. There's a website called baraminology.com. Baramin is the Hebrew word for kind. Baraminology.com. They say Noah probably took about 8,000 pairs of animals on the ark. He didn't have to bring fish. There's plenty of water outside. He didn't have to bring insects. Insects can survive a flood on floating log mats and floating debris and floating carcasses. And he wasn't told to. He's told to bring those in whose nostrils is the breath of life. Insects don't have nostrils. So let's assume that, pick that number, 8,000 pairs of animals. I think Noah would be smart enough to bring babies. Actually, God brought them to him. He didn't have to bring anything. God said, Noah, you build the boat. I'm going to bring the animals to you. So they went onto the ark. There have been a lot of studies done on that. Could 8,000 pairs of young baby animals fit on the ark? Answer is easily on one floor of the ark, and it had 3 floors. I happen to believe, couldn't prove this, that Noah, the Bible's clear that all the Antarian before and during the flood. So Noah just brought piles of, like I go up and dump off bales of hay for the cow. They find it. I don't have to go feed them. They go find their own hay. And Noah didn't have cages on the ark. There were rooms on the ark. That's why you got to get a King James, okay? Rooms on the ark. So the animals, they go to their room. When they're done at night, go to their own room. And I think the Noah's Ark, big boat, 515 feet long, had holes in the bottom with tubes inside, so that every time he goes over a wave, the water goes up and down inside that tube. which wouldn't affect anything inside except it pumps fresh air in and out of the boat. Circulation, air conditioning. And you could set valves in there someplace and turn it open when you need to fill the watering trough. Hey, we're going over a wave, turn the valve, fill the watering trough in seconds. You could water all the animals in seconds. You can feed them all just by leaving the piles of food out. You don't have to go around and feed them. So I think about 8,000 kinds would be the best guesstimate. Okay?
All right, one more on the monitor.
Invader Zim. What did Jesus mean? Many are called, but few are chosen. Well, God's called everybody. He wants everybody to go to heaven. Some don't choose him. God has chosen, if you'll accept my payment, I'll take you to heaven. Now, if you won't accept my payment, I can't take you. So I think God has chosen everybody. Not everybody chooses him. And he says, okay, well, the rest of you, I'm sorry. I tried. Okay? Freedom from thought. All right, Annie, Dan, Jerry, there's my challenge. I'll take all of you on together. Anytime. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow for comments on comments. Bye.